Hey guys, it's byscreenside, and today I have, by somewhat popular demand, an apartment. I have been getting a fair amount of comments lately requesting more apartment builds, and so for that reason, I bring you today an apartment build. Now, I must admit I was a little bit hesitant to share this particular apartment, and the reason for that is I do realize that not everybody is gonna like it, I guess. I did something very experimental with this apartment in my opinion. I was going for a very like shabby chic sort of urban outfitters kind of vibe with this place, and it did kind of come out looking excuse me, a bit on the rustic side. And it's a 3 bedrooms, 2 bathroom apartment. And this would be in like the arts quarter where I build it. And the apartments in the arts quarter I think are I think there's only really 2 apartments over there because the third lot in the arts quarter I want to say is, well, there's the museum and then there's a penthouse. And so there's only a couple to choose from. And the reason I haven't been building as many apartments lately is because of having to figure out the window placement. But I put a lot of creativity into this particular build. As you can see, I used this piece of art that came with City Living as a headboard for one of the bedrooms. And I thought, oh, that's a custom content curtain that I made, by the way. I considered putting it in briefly because I liked the way it looked, but I went no CC. So far, everything on my channel is no custom content for build and buy. I mean, I use a ton of it on Sims, but for buildings, I only am using just game content. Anyway, so yeah, I was going for a very shabby chic look, and what I really ideally would have wanted and could have had if I did use custom content was a really nice white brick, something that looks like it has been painted over. And I think that really kind of lends to the sort of, I don't know, the look that I was going for. But we do have some sort of white brick kind of. Like we have that base game texture. I think it's called Plaster Makes Perfect. But it's like that particular one has got like too many bits of red, and none of the white brick textures or the light brick textures looked right to me. So I chose this sort of kind of, definitely rustic looking, looks kind of almost like painted over drywall. So the apartment is definitely meant to look, on the more shabby side. It's definitely, going for a shabby chic kind of thing. And I used the shabby chic furniture that came with the base game a lot, where you can see like the paint being chipped off. And so that's what I was going for. A lot of lights, a lot light colors and pastels, and but still somewhat industrial. And definitely like I went a little bit different with the layout of the apartment and everything. So yeah, that's my justification. I know that some of you may not like this, but I do like it, so I assume some of you will like it. Somebody's gonna like it, right? I mean, I've spent too much time and put too much creativity and effort into doing this place just to not share it because I was feeling insecure, which I do sometimes feel a little bit insecure about, is this build good? Is it just good to me? Will other people like it? Or is it just me and my crazy head thinking, you know? Um, but at the same time, I don't want everything I build to be exactly the same. So, you got to kind of take risks now and then if you want to be, if you're a person who enjoys creativity. So yeah, I hope that you like the apartment. If you don't, I get it. Cool. Stick around. I'll build something that you like at some point. I promise. Anyway, but yeah, I this was the one thing I will say in terms of I the way I designed it. Around every door, at least in the main area of the apartment, I did this sort of thing with the columns and the like some shelving just to give it, I don't know, again, like I've said in other videos, you kind of can get tired with some of the options in the game. So putting things together in a different way to make it look like it's different, because all the doors, I didn't really like all of the door options. I didn't really feel like all of them worked quite the way I wanted to, but when I added these columns and shelves around the edges, it made it look a little bit different to me. And, so, and I lit the apartment up, as you can see, like there are all those lights in the ceiling because I wanted it to be really bright and, you know, really give it a. And I do also acknowledge that with the way it looks rustic, it's kind of I don't want to say it's a little bit sort of out of place in the city, but such apartments do exist in cities. So, I do understand that it's kind of weird. Like you look outside and there's like kind of a modern city and the interior is, kind of rustic, but still, again, it's what I was going for. So it's what I did. Um, so this is, like I said, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and I think the rent on it is about 1,400 a week, which isn't too bad. I don't really think. This apartment is the only one that I have played in my personal gameplay. Really, in San Myshuno, this is kind of like one of the better ones in my opinion. Something that does really frustrate me about building in, and that's why I don't do as many apartments, is because of how it can be complicated to figure out how you want to lay out the rooms while keeping in mind the fact that you don't have any control over where the windows are placed. And so that makes it a little bit, that adds a frustration for me that I'm still not used to yet, even though City Living's been out since like November. Um, I get kind of, you know, flabbergasted, I guess, whenever I am trying to figure out, where bedrooms should be, because you want bedrooms ideally to have a little bit of, some windows going on, and then where, you want some obviously in your living room area. And then also, you don't have control over what types of windows they are. So, in the like really fancy section of San Myshuno and like the really ritzy part, there are, a couple of apartments that are just like floor to ceiling windows, just tons of them. And then in the, Spice Market area, all of the windows in those apartments are the exact same, just like basic white trimmed windows that don't really look white. They have like sort of a grayish tinge to them, so it almost feels like you have to use a darker wall color to make that white look actually not dingy gray. So, yeah, if you're wondering why I don't build apartments more often, that is why. It's just a frustration with the windows that I personally have. So yeah, I built this. I kept the door area separate because you can't change the door to the exterior. So I put in just a little entryway there with a coat hanger, and I think I put a painting in there later and just decorated up a little bit. We have a chessboard, and we have You know, the computer, that computer does work. The counter stool such like setup does, they can access the computer just fine. I did notice that when I was playtesting, it seemed like like the master bedroom, what I consider to be the master bedroom, with the, which is the one you've already seen built. The Sims do have a like intermittent trouble accessing it. I don't know what's up with it. Like every now and then, like one of my Sims would act like they didn't want to get in it, and then, but then they would. So, so yeah, yeah. I put that painting up above the door too. I thought that looked really cute in that section. So I do want to mention again really quickly that yesterday, if you haven't seen it yet, I did put up a video that is a build of a collaboration that I did with Amberjet. And I just wanted to say again, you know, I had a really great time collabing with her, and you should definitely check out her channel and show her some love if you, you know, if you haven't already been over to see her half. You know, those videos are up from yesterday, so if you haven't seen them yet, go check those out. And I do have a little bit of a story that I wanted to share with you guys today, um, just because it made me so happy. I had a good day yesterday. It was like a really nice, productive day. But I did work yesterday, and at one point during the day, well, no, let me back up. My friend told me in the morning, one of my coworkers, that another one of our friends, coworkers, had gotten a puppy, and she was going to bring it in so that we could see it later on that day. And so as the day wore on, I kind of forgot about that. Like, he showed me a picture. It's a corgi. It's like the cutest thing in the world. And but as the day wore on, I just kind of forgot about that, and we were just sort of just chatting with my coworkers, and we were all just sort of in just like a funk yesterday. Um, like we got into this like really depressing conversation about like death and what happens after you die, and it's just like, wow, we must be having a bad day if we're having like this dark of a conversation. It was, I mean, in a lighthearted way. It wasn't like really super serious, you know, but at the same time, it was really like dark subject matter for us all to be discussing. So we're in the middle of having this like really dark conversation, and then we get a text like she's here with a puppy. So we we go from like, what happens when you die, to puppy, yay! So we all go running out to see this puppy. And you guys, I want a dog now. I want a puppy now. Oh, it was so cute. And I just happened to be like the first one to be like, can I hold him? And because I was the first one, the puppy was so excited to be like seeing new people. You know how puppies are. They're just like, everything is amazing. Every day is amazing. All people are amazing. He was just the happiest little guy, and I can only describe it as like a hurricane of puppy kisses. It was like I couldn't catch my breath. He was so like just like licking my face, and I was trying to like get him like to, you know, positioned in a place where I could like even look at him, but he just wouldn't let me. I mean, it was just but I was so happy at the same time. It was just like, oh God, stop, you're all over me, but I love it. I don't mind, I guess. And oh gosh, oh, it was so cute. I was high on puppy kisses for the rest of the day. It was amazing. um but I have cats. I live in an apartment. I don't like I'm more of a cat person, but I don't dislike dogs by any stretch of the imagination. I love dogs. I just don't feel like it's fair to have a dog in an apartment unless I got a really small one, because it is actually kind of a big apartment. But you know, I've always just felt like it wouldn't be like, we don't have the schedule to take it out during the day as much as it would need to be and everything. But I'm starting to rethink it because, oh, it was so cute. And don't worry, I have a picture for you guys. I wouldn't tell you a story about a puppy and not have a picture of that puppy. That would just be mean. And I took a picture to text it to my boyfriend and be like, I want one, but I still have it, so I'm gonna share it because I wouldn't do that to you guys. Of course, there's gonna be a picture of a puppy, obviously. So yeah, I'll like stick that at the end of the video. But anyway, he was just so cute. It made me so happy. I wanted to use those roses, those those rose paintings from the vampires pack and use that to do this room, but I wound up like there just wasn't a good trim around those paintings to use it. So I instead did this used this side table that comes with spa day to again do something a little bit different with the headboard. None of the beds in this apartment look like I didn't just slap the bed down on any of them. I used different items to give them different like headboard styles and make them look, a little bit different. I think it looks pretty cool. This bedroom could really be for any sim, or you could probably use this one as the master bedroom if you wanted to instead, because it does have windows, whereas the other bedroom that I built before, it has a computer in it, but it doesn't have any windows just because of its placement in the apartment. And I know that when the video started out, I kind of already had the layout sorted. And the reason behind that is because I had at one point started trying to build an apartment and was getting really frustrated with how I was going to lay it out, and I stopped building. So then when I came back to this lot, there was already like a bit of a layout going on, and so I just had to make a few adjustments to get it to what I wanted it to be. So I didn't, film that part, but that's, I'm sure, like okay. There's a screenshot that shows the layout from above at the end, so you'll be able to see like the specific layout. I mean, you kind of can tell as I'm building, but if you want to know how I laid it out, I do have a floor plan shot at the end. So, yeah. This now that I'm building is a kids themed bedroom. I used just a single bed, so you could use it for a teen or a child sim. And of course, if you have a toddler, you'd have to swap out the bed because toddlers can't use normal sized people beds. But one thing I was starting to explain earlier, and I kind of got sidetracked, is with the columns around the doors. Those don't unfortunately go away in walls down mode. I've play tested this apartment quite a bit, and it doesn't because the walls are so tall, it's not that bad in terms of being distracting or irritating during gameplay. But if it's something where you're playing this apartment like in a long-term sort of basis, it might be a potential irritation, so that's just something to keep in mind. You may want to rip out the columns, but and I tend to I get very irritated when I'm playing and there's something constantly obstructing my view. So I'm really sensitive to that when I play, and it didn't bother me. So it might bother you, but it didn't bother me, and I'm kind of picky about that. So something to keep in mind. I don't know. Of course, I will put this up on the gallery as a room, which means I will have to knock some of the walls out. I had a comment a while back, like a good while back, that said that you can save it as a room without knocking out the walls, but I tried that and I couldn't figure out how that's done. So if you guys know how that's done, tell me, or if there's a tutorial on it, link me to that video. But I wasn't able to get it to save as a single room without having to knock walls out. So you'll have to rebuild a few walls just to, use it. And I did, as you can see, I kind of put some areas of the wall texture where it's grayish and some where it's more white. And in most apartments you can't control. They usually pick a very neutral wall color and you can't repaint it. So that's why, you know, I will usually in apartments do just like sort of a plain white wall texture. And yeah, so that's my reasoning behind that. So yeah, I did put in, like I said, a chessboard, and I popped in this get together dartboard. So there are several activities for your Sims to do, and we're getting ready to come up on the screenshot. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I post new speed builds every week, and stay tuned for Puppy. Bye guys!